A vital aspect of true preparedness. Hey everybody, this is Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. Do you truly want to be prepared? I got some good stuff here. So, as preppers, we talk about a lot of things, correct? We talk about stockpiling food. We talk about water, medical. We talk about food preservation. We talk about so many different things. Fitness. We talk about all the skills. We talk about building tribe. We talk about raising your own animals, growing your own food. So much to preparedness. Bugging in, bugging out, bug out locations, bug out routes. Yeah, there's a lot to it. But I'm feeling that this is going to be very, very vital, especially coming up in the next, over the next year. As food shortages get worse, as prices go up, as inflation gets worse, and if and or when we get drug into global conflict. This is going to be vital, vital, vital. Okay, so gardening. Speaking of gardening, okay, maybe I just lost some people. They're like, oh, gardening, blah. Listen, please. But before we get into that, subscribe, please. Ring that notification bell for all. Give me the thumbs up. Share the videos, comment below, please. What that does is it increases the reach and the visibility of the videos, which allows us to reach more people, to get more people on board with preparedness, building more assets so there's fewer liabilities out there, people that will be coming for your stuff and my stuff when SHTF really gets bad. So please, and do that for all the other prepper channels. Grow the community, very important. All right, let's get to the video. So I don't know if you guys have seen my videos about gardening. I have a pretty decent sized garden for my limited acreage. I'm not some big farmer. I don't have tractors and all that stuff like that. I do have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in-ground areas, and I have 24 raised beds. So raised beds are my primary source. If you guys have ever raised bed garden, you know that they settle. So to top them off every year, it's actually a good thing. I love the fact that they settle. Why? Because then it makes it easier for me to amend the soil. So what I'm doing is on at least 3, 4, maybe 5 of my beds, I'm going to be adding height to them because they're not as tall as I want them to be. Amending soil. Got some good stuff here. I have a feeling that this is going to be so vital that we need to be able to grow as much food as we possibly can next growing season, because I have a feeling that we'll be relying on it a lot more. So what are my ideas? Okay, I'm going to add the height. What compost, like onion peels, banana peels, apple cores, all the stuff that you can compost, all the fruits and vegetables that you don't use in your kitchen, and you can either throw them in the compost pile, or what you can do is throw them directly into raised beds or in-ground area and till them in, add topsoil over them, whatever. So what I'm going to be doing is I do that also. I do that as part of my building up my raised beds. But adding green material is very important, getting that good nitrogen in the soil. So all the plants, whenever they're done producing, I pull them up, I lay them in the raised bed, and that's good. That's one good thing. But I don't have that much to really get a good thick layer in there. So I was just thinking, I was getting my little one to sleep, and my brain is always going. I have woods behind my house that are full of ferns, of sword ferns and other kinds of ferns. I could just go out there with a trash bag. I can go anywhere here in Western Washington with big trash bags, load them up with ferns, lay them in the raised bed. That will be really awesome for the soil, really good. Also, we have a lot of skunk cabbage around here, and they have those big, like, mondo leaves. We could lay those in there. And there's a lot of other green stuff around us. So I'm going to collect a bunch of green, good greens. I will put the big, good greens in there. Okay, another thing I do is whenever we cook eggs, I save the eggshells. I let them dry out, I crumple them up really, really tiny, or I throw them in the coffee grinder and I make them into powder. Sprinkle that in there also. Another thing I can do, and I'm going to be doing, is my neighbors have chickens, so I can get chicken manure in there also. Other tribe members have cows, so steer manure I can put in there also. But if you don't have access to that, here's some other really good tips. What we're going to be doing is, if you live anywhere in a coastal region, I know that's limited, you may not be in a coastal region, go to the seashore, the Puget Sound, anything, saltwater lakes, anything, any saltwater areas. What are there all over the beaches? Seashells. What are seashells made out of? Calcium. Same thing as eggshells, right? Collect up a whole bunch of those, grind up, smash them up with a hammer really, really, as good as you can. Put those in your raised beds. Calcium is important. And then another thing we're going to do is, so I'm going to get the good, I'm probably going to do like organic material from the composting. Then I will do like a chicken manure. Then I will do the eggshells and or the seashells. Then I'll do a really big thick layer of the greens. And then another thing I thought of, you ever seen low tide area in a saltwater bay or like say Puget Sound? When the tide goes out, it stinks. You know why it stinks? That's all rotting organic material. All that mud. All those nutrients in that mud. So all I got to do is go find somewhere where it's got a bunch of mud. I don't think anybody's going to mind me taking a couple buckets of mud out of there. So collect up a bunch of buckets of mud, put those over all the greens, and then the containers, that container garden, I spoke of this recently. I think it was on here. I forget if it was on Pure or on Patreon. It might have been a Patreon, but I don't remember. If you're interested in Patreon, links in the description below. It's $1 a month. Lots of good content there. I build stuff there. I talk about stuff. Tactical side, gardening side, building side, general preparedness side, all kinds of stuff there. So really good stuff. But where was I going with that? Oh, my containers I garden in are the big black totes. And I don't leave the topsoil in there year to year because I don't want the chemicals from the plastics to leach into the soil. So I use that soil to top off the raised beds. Well, it's never really enough because I don't have enough containers to really fill them all up. But with all this other organic material, all the seashells, all the chicken manure, all the steer manure, all the mud will be in there first. Then the last little bit, I don't know, the last couple inches, maybe the last 2 inches on each bed, put that topsoil on there. If it's not enough, I may have to get some more topsoil. That's fine. I usually get the mushroom compost topsoil mix. It's like a 50-50 garden mix. Seems to work really well. What does work better though, but is more expensive, usually about maybe twice the price, is the fish emulsion or the fish compost topsoil mix. That's really good also. But I don't think I need to use that if I'm using all the mud and stuff like that, because what if in the water, when fish die, what do? They go to the bottom and they rot. Their carcasses rot on the bottom. Same with when they go poo. It falls down to the bottom and composts into making that really good, dense, nutrient-dense mud. So I'm really looking forward to that. You can also do it if you're not on a sea or a saltwater area, ponds and or lakes. All the mud on the bottom. Just go get some, scoop it out, put it in a bucket. If it's kind of watery, who cares? It just makes it easier to pour in your raised beds. So that's a good thing. So I'm really looking forward to this. We're going to make our raised beds in our in-ground areas so nutrient dense that our crops are going to explode next year. I can't wait to show you guys how we grow. And then I can explain exactly what we did after we do it, because right now we're in the process of doing it. I want to get all my raised beds put to bed, added height to, and all topped in and just crammed with all the good nutrients I possibly can as soon as I can, so it has time to compost down and all that calcium to leach into all the different soil and all the nitrogen to disperse into the dirt and to make really good soil. So I'm really looking forward to this. I have a feeling this is going to be a very, very vital thing to have next year. The ability to produce as much as you possibly can I'm really thinking is going to be a very important thing for next year and maybe even the years to come. I'm not sure if it's a long-term event. The better off you are, the better off you are, though. I mean, and even if nothing really goes down, so what? I'll still grow like amazing stuff. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's a really good idea. I was just sitting there, like I said, my brain was going. What I already did is I have two bin compost system, which I'm going to be making. I'm going to be building more very soon. One of them is filled up, topped off, and I'm going to let that settle down. I'm going to, turn it and stuff like that. The other one, the left side, is this one that I was adding to. So I had a bunch of my pumpkin plants in there, my squash plants, my zucchini plants, stuff like that. So what I did is I went and I got all that stuff out of there, everything I could, and I spread that out in the beds. I put, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we worked on 4 more beds on putting them to sleep, putting them to bed, putting the beds to bed. Yeah, I put all that plant and all that organic material that is already starting to compost down very well in there also. Another thing I've heard that some people do, and I've been trying it, maybe it'll help. I won't really know because I'm doing so many things at once, but pee in your raised beds. I know it sounds kind of gross, but if you don't want to be out there peeing in your front yard, pee into a container and pour it in your raised beds. Don't go poo though. Don't do that because only animals that are vegetarian animals, meaning they don't eat meat, no carnivores, no dogs, no cats, no human stuff like that. Although I know people, I've heard that people do that. They make compost and they have to let it wait like a year or 2 or something like that before you can actually use it. But like chicken manure, cow manure, horse manure, that kind of stuff you can put right in there. It's good to go. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really excited about this. I hope that you guys take this on and do some of this stuff also. Like I said, I have a feeling it's coming down the wire where growing and your ability to grow as much as you possibly can will be very important. So I love you guys. Have a wonderful day and blessings to you and yours.